Step right up to the carnival.
We went up to the carnival because what happened was the mansion had gotten completely ransacked by two werewolves, a vampire, and like fucking Kurt got bit. What's her name? Hayden? Hayden got bit, but not too worried because that was bit by a vampire, not bit by a werewolf. Jean Javier heroically, with all of his courage and powers, managed to protect Umbra the entire battle and also subdue one of the werewolves. Whereupon we got information that the hand had sent them to kind of cause a bit of disarray, but also to kind of just like sort of test our mettle as well, almost as like a kind of like a warning shot, being like, "Hey, we're on to you. You like this is your warning." Uh, Questioned him, got some information. We then went over the next day to a little monster carnival. That was what was it? That was ran by like a couple of monster hunters, and then like a bunch of other like little attractions there as well. We went there to get uh to look for a remedy for Kurt, who was already starting to show some slight telltale signs of lycanthropy. And we got a potion of sleep to give him, and then we were given a potion of tracking and told the only way to cure him is to take out the alpha. What was his name? Thomas, the lame ass werewolf that we got.
Yes.
Thomas was all like, we need to be monsters. We need to do blah blah blah. Oh, whiny little bitch about it. Jean Javier was totally all onto him.
Is Gabe
So we
cutting
went
out,
there.
or am I cutting out?
No, that's me probably.
Okay.
My internet shitty the last few days.
Ah. You've just been silent for like about 2 seconds.
So then we went to the carnival. We got the potions. We got told what to do. We went around, gathered some little things, got a couple little attractions out of the way, snagged some nice little pieces from rigging games and lying to people. Sat down. A horrific, awful creature decided to break out of one of the cages to where we just decided to go and kill it. We get 5
Not last session. The rings of mind shielding.
golden rings?
Yeah.
Did we?
I didn't ever specify if they were gold, but yeah. Well, like 2 months ago, he got some rings.
The rings
Mind shielding, yeah.
the rings of mind strengthening or something else.
Oh, sorry, strengthening, yes. Shielding is something only Umbra has.
Yes.
Yeah, Umbra has shielding, the rest of us have strengthening.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Umbra has both, because you can't look into my mind and you can't make me afraid. I am a proper core agent now.
The inner workings of your mind are an enigma.
Exactly.
But yeah, I believe that kind of catches us up to our current situation to where we killed the weird angel thing, monster, beast, came back, and then we are planning to head out, I think, to do the werewolf. If I recall, that's where we left off.
Yep. So you'd finished at the fair. You just started getting home. I believe from there the plan was to get Kurt to drink that potion that
Yeah,
makes
we were
him go
gonna
to
give him
sleep.
the false sleep.
And then you also have a potion of tracking. You don't know what it does specifically, but you do have that in your resource, as well as a lame-ass werewolf that really likes jokes.
Yeah, I think we thought that Thomas could like track them too, and with the tracking potion, it would like help even more, or something like that.
Yeah, it could be. I never revealed what it was exactly that the tracking potion did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Someone
think we
said it gave
actually, like,
advantage, but I don't know where they got that from. So, I'm gonna be going on for a nap, I suppose, right? Should we do it somewhere a bit more comfortable than this chilly marble hallway?
I would try the kitchen. I don't know. Seems like a safe place. No one would look at you in the kitchen.
You just gonna store my body in the kitchen? What if the cook mistakes me for a piece of pork?
Well, that's something you have to live with.
Septo wouldn't live in that situation.
Well, it's your choice in the end. That was just a suggestion.
I'm going to go light it out. He storms off towards the family living room. I assume by
Should we?
this time Umbra would have returned from his side journey as well.
Mm. While on his side journey, could he have perhaps spent a little bit more time to go get some appraisals done of the various goods that he had won, and see how much gold they would be worth selling?
Not like not while also returning here that quickly, but you can give a little look over yourself because as someone who's made their living stealing goods, you'd be able to gauge rough values.
All right. Umar would just go with that for now.
Alright, so the rare monster skin is worth about 10 gold pieces. The pickled pixie is worth 15. The bag of exotic gems seems to be entirely fake and just like coloured glass. You could trick someone into believing it's real if they didn't have a good eye for gems, but just selling them to a fence, it would be like 1 gold maybe. The magic flute and the dragon scale mail are both pretty decent bits of magic items kit, and therefore would be worth about 250 gold pieces, I believe. And that is each.
The flute Davina has already made claim of, though, so
Yep.
Umber would just kind of stroll in. Alrighty. Shall we get this show on the road, then?
Unfortunately, yes. I think it's best to deal with it sooner than later.
So what security measures are we putting in place? We don't need a throat being slit while we're gone.
Well, if we're going by what our little compatriot Cain here suggests, then perhaps we put him in one of the salt barrels and hope he doesn't pickle by the time we come back.
I doubt anybody would go looking in there. It does make sense someone of his stature would be able to fit in a crate. Someone of his position would be unwise to leave them out and about.
Well, we can only do much, and if our enemies think about his personality, they will probably rule out that he's inside some damp and uncomfortable storage.
Have you no hidden vaults, Davina?
Why? I'm not gonna ask that question. No. I didn't
about
build
one-
the house. I just didn't.
What about one with a bank? We could put him inside a chest, cover him with a bit of gold, and leave him in one of the most secure locations in the city, inside a safe room in a bank.
Whatever happened to chaining somebody up in the basement? Like,
It would be too easy to come in, and with that, Umbra makes a gesture of slitting a throat. It's already happened once.
And that's exactly the reason why we've gone through all this work. So I think you're right. It's best to be safe than sorry.
Perhaps we just stuff him up the flue. Keep him right in the chimney. Nobody will look up there.
What if they get through the chimney?
As well as there's the possibility of a maid forgetting and lighting a fire. I don't really want to come back to a charcoal prince.
Well, what else other options do we got? We got a couple crates and some boxes in the storage we could lock them up in. Stuff them into one of these empty suits of armor. Mayhaps we push away some of the books on a shelf and stuff them on one of there. He's small enough. He can fit in certain areas that we don't have to worry about with those of taller stature. And after he falls asleep, he doesn't have to know where we put him.
Well, nevertheless, he is sleeping, and we don't know how he sleeps. Some people used to tend to move a lot, so we have to keep that in mind. He's sleeping, not sedated.
There is always the possibility of leaving him with my employer.
do you trust your employer that much?
Is he not the one that is aiding us against this fight? I have received some more information as well as something to help with dealing with our threat. With that, Umbra will unsheath from one of his many dagger pouches on his abdomen a silvered dagger.
Okay,
trust
okay.
They have the full understanding of the picture. It is unlikely that one would be able to breach our compound. However, we are fighting internal enemies. There is still an aspect of risk.
Well, that's risking every possibility, so we just have to choose which one we want to go with.
Personally, I think the crate's a little less duplicitous than the group that you work with, but who am I to say? I'm just a little magician off the streets coming in to help here.
Mm.
Look, I may be a petty thief, an assassin for hire some days, but at the end of the day, there are people you can trust in the core. I think I am proof of that at this point.
But you just say that we're dealing with internal people and they could manage somehow to infiltrate even more and pose a threat to the prince.
Yes, this is an internal core affair. However, my Leon's my superior is aiding and seems to wish to fight against this threat. I am sure if we give the situation, they will aid us in giving at least some place secure to leave the prince. There's a risk no matter what we do. If they send another hit squad, I am sure they are more than skilled enough to find where the prince is going to be hiding.
And
matter
we're not
where we-
okay letting the prince decide his fate.
I think he's already asleep.
He doesn't have the potion with him.
Oh.
He just said, like, he got stressed out, so he's just gonna go have a little panic lie down.
Well, nevertheless, we all know that
I'm
the
just
prince.
saying, if the prince chooses, then no matter what happens to him, he's ultimately responsible for his own fate. I'm not going to be responsible for choosing, I suppose is what I'm putting out there. Just let the record reflect.
What a wonderful idea. That way the guilt will never eat away at you.
Guilt? No. Alright.
I personally like the pickle barrel.
Well, he's going to be a prince someday, so I think, yeah, he should be able to make the right calls.
Because you trust his calls already, don't you, Cain?
That's
Yeah, we
exactly
all
my
trust
point.
him so much.
He has to learn at some point. He either learn or die, so.
That's bleak.
Hey, we were
Gosh.
just talking about putting your employer inside of a pickle barrel. How do you feel?
If I start, I'm not going to stop swearing, so I'm just going to get damage.
The boss has really raged against existence that hard. A real shame.
Buses are pretty
Can we-
bullshit here. The prince will sit up when he hears the door open and someone approach. Have we made a decision at all? I'm happy to just go to sleep here.
That is what we were discussing, Your Highness. You see, there's a few options. We can stuff you in a barrel, leave you laying out in the open. Perhaps you would wish to take a bit of a nap with my employer.
I don't think it would be wise to bring anyone else into this situation unless necessary, and I'm not entirely sure I believe it's necessary quite yet. Why not just stuff me under a bed? People never look there.
No, they never look up. I suppose a chandelier could work quite well.
Oh, we do have some rope. That would work just right.
What if I, get knocked over by a slight gust of wind and get strangled in my sleep?
We could put him in the closet. I feel like that's kind of where he belongs anyways.
I'm sure I don't know what you're implying.
Well, what we've been discussing is that it's your body, your life, so your choice. However, I would like to point out that last time that we were invaded, you got picked up rather easily. So keep that in mind.
I was made for negotiating, not for warfare.
We know.
This is stressing me out too much. Look, as long as my body isn't in immediate jeopardy, it's fine. It should be for, like a day? At the most, right?
Depending on the distance we have to travel.
Oh, it shouldn't be too far gone. Your
Maybe a week.
people like to work within the range of their abilities, after all.
Yes, it should be someone in the city if they're part of the corps. There's nothing to steal out in the forest, is there?
No, but the forest is a good place to hide.
The only men in
Especially
the
if you're a
forest are those in
werewolf.
tats.
Oh, yes. They were quite charming fellows. Just stuff me in a crate. Just, I don't care. Just maybe make sure there's an air hole before you lock me in. I'm fairly sure I'm still gonna need to be able to breathe.
I'm sure we could poke a hole in some boxes for you, sure.
Just give me that potion and then do what you need to do. I don't like how I feel.
Yeah, I believe Jean Javier was the last one to have the bag. So he'll go up, he'll pull the bag out, and he'll pull out the one potion of false sleep from there and hand it over.
Has everyone gone into the lounge by now? Or are Davina and Anissa still hanging
Oh yeah,
around
I'd be in the
building?
lounge. Apologies.
Just to double check. Kurt takes the potion, begins to uncork it, and that's when you will hear a loud knock. Very insistent, loud bashing from the front door. Sounds like someone with a plate mailed hand is rapping at the door. In the name of the
All
Queen, open up!
Iris, are we not getting the door anywhere?
Jean Javier puts a hand over the open bottle, just real quickly. He's like, maybe
So say again.
we hold off for just a little bit.
I believe so.
You hear a set of footsteps scurrying towards the door. Oh, they are in the family lounge, just to your north.
Well, Davina, are you gonna go introduce yourself to the guests as lady of the house?
They are apparently being escorted into us.
The door is opened, and two heavily armored figures, both wearing the sigil of Athington on tabards and shields, enter into the room.
Hello?
One of them, with the mace, points towards Kurt. Prince Kurt of Mount Adra. By order of the Queen, you are to be escorted to the palace immediately for questioning the disappearance of Princess Clara Mayerlin.
Everybody swivels to look.
No, Javier like keeps his look forward, and he's just like, "Well, now ain't this just quite interesting? And when exactly did the princess go missing?"
Earlier today.
Oh, unfortunately, we have been with the prince all since last night as well as this morning. In fact, we have been with him at the fair that was just over out in the far park near the edge of the city. And there are quite a lot of witnesses that have saw him out there. Now, unfortunately, unless you actually want to try to provide any evidence that you have that shows his whereabouts around that time, feel free to present it to us so that way we can confirm being his bodyguards.
Okay, so that is going to be a persuasion check at a disadvantage because you disguised the prince when you were out.
It is true.
Uh-oh.
That is a 14 still.
That being said, we must still confirm these whereabouts, and we would appreciate the prince being somewhere more visible. He is of a rival nation, after all. The Queen will want to speak to him.
Then, as his bodyguards, we are going to be there to protect him. I
Of
trust that will
course.
not be an issue.
I'm sure the Queen will want to speak to you all as well. Unless you have anything else to do.
We do have other duties we must attend to for the prince. However, I do believe this takes a minor precedent. Umbra would still not turn to look to anybody, but give a pause to allow anybody to interject.
Yes, we do have other appointments, so I expect you to, conduct yourself courteously. This is an inconvenience for all of us, so I feel strongly that the attitude that you came in here with is just not appropriate.
Jean Javert faints. Jean Javert faints and falls towards the lap of Prince Kurt in kind of an exaggerated manner, hand to the head.
Bombast side eye.
You see the potion swiftly and stealthily being knocked into his mouth, and Kurt's reflex is to just swallow.
Oh, forgive me. Oh, the weather today. As I mentioned, we had been out during the day with the prince, and the heat finally caught up to me. I'm sorry. I'm not that strong of constitution. Prince Kurt, are you all right? And then I'm just gonna kind of like get on my knees and just kind of like gently tap his shoulder to make sure that I didn't like hurt him or anything.
You don't appear to have hurt him, but he's kind of looking quite dazed. He kind of looks like he's just got off of a 6-hour pub crawl. He's looking like shattered and woozy, and he just goes, don't feel so.
Oh my goodness. The heat has gotten to the prince himself. You two, can you go get a doctor?
We will bring him to a doctor.
In this state? In that heat?
It is spring.
And do you think that one of his constitution as well either will be able to handle being out for too long? What happened to him being of a prince and royalty and needing to be dealt with and cared for? Are you really gonna manhandle someone who is next in line on the throne?
Please make a regular persuasion check.
14.
I feel like maybe I should be talking.
The one who hasn't said much turns around and leaves, and you can just hear him say to Iris, "You, doctor, now," before returning in. And the one that just asked for a doctor continues, "Here's what we're going to do. One of us will stay with the prince and watch over him, and the other will escort you all to go and see the queen."
What if, that's just a suggestion, what if we procure the doctor and you watch over the prince for a short while, and we come back, treat the prince, and we all go together to the queen?
Roll a persuasion as well, please. No, if you want to be the one talking, Davina, feel free.
I just want to talk about everybody else before I
Let's go by persuasion. It's like a -1.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Look,
It's not like I can't roll it if you talk.
$15.
A reasonable suggestion, but we have our orders.
Again, the attitude that you came in here with is not appropriate for servants of nobility. Try again.
Excuse me, and who do you think you are? We are the closest guards of Queen Aery Maelin herself.
Sir, this is my house.
We mean you no disrespect, good sirs. I believe this transaction is agreeable. We have royalty to watch over the prince to ensure that no harm will come to him. And we have followed him and have watched all of his actions. We can answer any questions the queen may have to ease whatever fears that she might have.
So you will go with us.
Listen, we never said we wouldn't. Again, attitude.
For one so noble yourself, you seem to not understand the inner workings, Davina. With that, Umbra will bow slightly towards these two, who will
I'm
be
not
staying.
bowing to a guard.
You both
Alright, well,
did
if
you
we're going
say
to be the
anything?
prince, I suppose you both have a stretcher. You have the proper equipment to be doing that?
I believe we have settled that one will stay here with him and await the doctor that is coming.
Perfect.
Have one of your maids in here as well, Davina. As much as I trust your ability, I still wish to have our own people hear what the doctor has to say.
Iris!
Iris has left to go and get the doctor.
Ugh.
So it will be one of the others. Perhaps Miss Fallon could help.
No, they're all
Davina's still
Iris.
gonna call for Iris as if she doesn't know
Oh,
which
I
of her servants is which.
Iris is just your word for maid now. There's one of the non-irises will trot in. Yes, madame.
You need to stay here and observe. And if anyone does anything they ought not to, just scream at the top of your lungs.
As you say, madame. She takes up a space kind of in the corner, watching everything. The one who's been a bit more problem-solvy, calling for doctors and whatnot, opens the door, gestures towards the 5 of you.
Well, shall we get going then? It is not curt to keep a queen waiting now.
Before that, I'll just scoop to Davina and I'll be like, make sure to tell your maid that when the doctor arrives, he somehow hide the fact that he's under a sleep potion, and do not wake him up from that.
Oh, goodness. It'd be so much easier if... Okay, let's see. I'm going to pass my maid a gold piece and pass on, basically instruct her to bribe the doctor.
She nods. This is not her first rodeo with these matters.
How much
it
could
would
it
seem.
cost to bribe a doctor? 1 gold piece?
I mean, 1 gold piece, winky face. You know what I
The
mean?
threat of an apple.
No, we want to keep him here, not scare him away.
Right. That's the thing. You threaten to bring the apple in if he doesn't do what you want.
God.
You know how many apples 1 gold piece can buy?
It's just 1 apple, Bailey. What can it cost?
5 gold pieces.
Oh my god, the inflection.
That's too realistic. We're playing a fantasy game right now.
With that, the night.
Before we go,
Mhm.
I gotta go grab something out of the storage area. Do you mind? There are no windows. I will not be escaping. I'll just be right quick in and out.
Very well. But he kind of walks into the foyer in a way where he can, like, watch you and everyone else. He can't see all the way into the storeroom, but he can observe it at most to, see whether or not there's any daylight poking through into the room, for example.
Yeah, he leaves the door ajar so that way the guard can see that it's dark in there before he casts Oh, I don't have light. Never mind.
What do your feline eyes see?
So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like go in here. I'm gonna like turn back. I'm just gonna like wave at him, and then I'm just gonna like get over here. Then I'm gonna gesture to Thomas to kind of like like crawl over.
He inchworms over to you. Can we go?
He's gonna go ahead and just kind of like loosen the restraints and says, "Now there's gonna be a guard in the room over to the left. Do not go in that room. Try to get out quietly through the front door, and try to do so very quietly. Try to be not wolfy, and also
You're gonna have to repeat that
after I
last bit.
leave this room."
You got an also.
And also something.
Try to leave here quietly. Avoid the room, like avoid and wait like okay, I saw my voice thing go red, so I paused myself there. Wait like 10 minutes
Okay.
after Jean Javier
Yeah, Jean Javier, that's it.
leaves.
Leaves, I assume. Yeah.
10 minutes after he leaves.
What do you want me to do? Just flee? Are you setting me free?
I get it. I get a wolf dynamics.
You the alpha and he's the omega now. That's the dynamic.
Let's not make this a whole fuss thing. Now again, 10 minutes.
10
No
minutes.
sooner. And
He
be quiet
nods.
about it.
Despite the token, he is in human form currently.
Alright, good. Yeah.
There's,
Alright, yeah.
there's no alternative token, and I can't be bothered to find one for such a lame ass NPC unless he comes back.
Jean Javier steps out, closes the door, and he holds up a small pouch that he just like had, but he just kind of like holds it up and says, "Sorry, I got it. All right, I'm ready to leave now."
Very well. With that, unless anyone wants to do anything else, he will begin to escort you all, excuse me, to the castle. So if there's anything that you want to ask this knight in particular, now's your chance.
Yeah, I want to ask about the disappearance of the princess. What happened?
She was found not in her room this morning.
You consider that the princess simply slipped out of her own accord and ran off?
That is being investigated, but with other disappearances happening, the Queen is on quite high alert.
Other disappearances?
Minor nobles have been disappearing recently.
How minor?
As minor as and gestures towards Davina.
One moment, please.
They dragged her. Oh my god.
I minor illusion to make it look like his fly is down.
Okay, he's wearing full plate armor. He doesn't have a
To make it look
traditional...
like his cod piece is extra small.
That'll do. He won't notice himself, but you notice a couple of people on the street as you pass, kind of having little giggles behind their mouths, behind their hands, and just looking at the knights as you all pass.
Yet this is the first major person going missing.
In this area, at least, we have had reports from other countries that they have had similar disappearances.
Have those other people been found, or have they just mysteriously shown back up?
Sometimes one and sometimes the other. They often claim that they just went out shopping or decided to go for a holiday for a while without telling anyone.
And then
These
Why do you
people,
know?
have they been themselves of their own mind since they've returned, do you know?
And that is not my personal department. I could not say. What were you going to say, Cain?
and then how do you know they were kidnapped, or the reason why they disappeared was to be, questioned if they just say they were out and about? How do you make like a pattern
The
out
princess
of
has been quite suspicious of these disappearances herself. She's been investigating them. Her mother is just paranoid, but the princess is investigating more actively. It
I do
seems
not
to be
think
only
she is
people in
paranoid.
key places of power. What was that, sorry, Bailey?
I do not think she is paranoid in these things. Our own investigations and work with the prince has uncovered some unsavory individuals wishing to influence things.
Perhaps you are right. I'm sure you will have plenty to talk about with Her Majesty once we get there.
And may I ask, um, why the queen suspect of Curzon,
Sorry?
and why the queen have any suspicions of Curzon?
Of what, sorry?
Oh,
Of
Kurt.
Kurt.
Oh, Kurt, sorry. I thought you were saying curse. I need to adjust my audio settings. She is from a different country to him. The two have only recently entered into a uneasy treaty. He is technically an enemy power. Why would not he be a suspect?
How many people from other countries do you think are in the city? Are all of them threats? I'm from North Bradel. Am I a threat to you and your people?
Are you a noble? Are you a prince? Exactly.
No.
You are not.
Fair enough.
You're from North Bradel.
I thought we've already established this.
I guess I forgot.
I choose to
Nevertheless.
believe that Davina just ignores information that she doesn't care about.
Well, I'm from right here in Alressier.
With that accent? Are you sure?
If a man cannot have his accent, then what can he have?
His miserable pile of secrets.
Davina being like immediately like, bitch, I'm from here.
I don't talk about your accent, now do I, Davina?
Excuse you. All of the nobility here have this accent. Because we all use the same 3 tutors.
Ah, so then you might understand on your confusion on why a commoner such as myself might not have the same accent as you do now.
I'm only teasing. Relax. It's very quaint. Your accent, that is.
Oh, it's very quaint, the naivety that the upper class have as well.
Look, before we start going into some deep philosophical talks and everything, I believe that it's best saved for a time when we're not about to meet royalty.
Right.
Remember your
and-
manners, everyone.
Indeed. You will speak
Give
only when
a look to
spoken
the guard.
You will speak only when spoken to for the Queen, and only once you have been introduced. Do I make myself clear?
Minor illusion, so it looks like he has toilet paper stuck to his boot.
Which means that his codpiece is now normal size?
I can only focus on one thing at a time, so yeah.
So he becomes Hector the normally endowed again.
Actually, how tall is Hector? Because I can do a 5-foot square, so I can mess with his whole body pretty much, as long as I don't do his head.
He is unfortunately about 6 feet, so you, like, neck down, you
Okay, I mean, codpiece, yeah, so neck down I can do. So yeah, the codpiece is abnormal. Now he has toilet paper trailing behind him. It kind of looks like his hair is messed up in the back.
He's wearing a helmet, but, you know, he'd
It
probably
looks
have
like he has
helmet
a
hair
mullet
anyway.
now, and it's sticking out of the bottom of his helmet.
Oh my god!
Alright, well, I wasn't gonna use this map, but I think
I
I'm gonna
love
have
my
to now.
serious political drama game.
Listen, even in Game of Thrones, they pranked people.
Stabbing someone, such a fun prank.
I mean, no, I mean, the whole like sheep shift thing. Anyways, it's fine.
Forgive me for the size of this, but it shows off the size of the palace quite well as you arrive at the gates outside. The palace entrance itself, you've been here before for like a Yuletide celebration a few years ago, Davina. You recall that the entrance itself is a good few flight of stairs up, or one nifty new lifting device. So all you see is a like 50-foot high wall of like carved marble which depicts the history of the country. A guard steps up. Hail! Hector! Are you okay? Our plan did not go exactly as it should have, no. The prince is taken ill. My compatriot remains with him, and I've escorted these mercenaries here to see the queen.
We are his royal bodyguard.
Very well. It's just, Hector, your shoe and hair,
And the second that Hector looks to check any of these things, they disappear.
oh, never mind, you got it. I suppose. Greetings, citizens, and welcome to the Castle Arisier. Please wipe your shoes before entering into the elevator, and have a good day. And gestures down at the elevator towards the east.
I've probably been here before, right?
Yeah, for a Yuletide thing a few years back. So you can climb up like 50 fucking foot's worth of stairs here, or you can go to an elevator over here.
Oh, absolutely.
Davina immediately goes for her cardio.
Maybe if I begin with
Absolutely
you
not.
can either, maybe listen to both of them first.
I just wasn't scrolled far enough to see what was happening.
Oh, fair.
Alright,
It
okay,
is a
well,
very
I thought it was a double wrap stair situation.
Hey, if we're gonna split the party, that's gonna be fun.
I'm following Davina because out of everyone, I think she'll be the most reliable person here.
Well, Hector loads himself into the elevator and looks at the other three expectantly.
Jean Javert uses his cane to tap at his
To tap at his.
lean before stepping on.
Okay.
My god.
I assume Cain steps on too.
Yeah.
A guard flips a rather large lever, and the apparatus, you can see a huge crank just slowly turning anti-clockwise as the entire platform that you're standing on shifts and rattles as it rises 50 foot to the top. Arriving at the entry platform just as Umbra and Anissa climb up the last of the stairs.
Quite the invention. And you don't even need to walk.
Some of the nobility consider it garish and loud, but I think it's quite fun.
Well, if
Technology is
you're
always
afraid.
fun.
And also a weapon, but let's not delve into it.
I mean, anything can be a weapon with the right intent.
In the human hands. But yeah.
Alright, everyone, orderly, come along.
The gates will open up for you. They just kind of like, there's a hinge at the very top and they just fold inwards. You're taken through a set amount of corridors and large open courtyards, and eventually are taken into what is clearly a throne room. One. Hector will say, "Remember what I said. Do not talk until you are introduced and talked to. Remain polite, if you can. Note the number of guards around you." And he will just walk up and just pause here and like gesture you onwards.
Umbra will walk forward, stopping a respectable way away from the stairs, fall to a knee and bow his head.
Perfect curtsy.
I want to be in the back, right in the back.
A herald of some form, or perhaps an assistant, strolls down the stairs and stops on the last landing before the bottom, as you all congregate. "Stop there!" "Announcing Davina of the family Hepburn and associates."
I'm dead. Okay.
A rather slight, tall, and very richly dressed figure begins to make her way down some of the stairs. She is radiating elegance and beauty, as many elves do. But behind you see a look of terror and worry on her face. "Greetings!
Your Majesty.
I am told that you are the mercenaries that can help me."
Such a crude word for the truth, I suppose. We may have some information for you. From what we've heard, you've been having some issue with these disappearances.
"My own daughter! Gone? For 3
Yes.
hours now."
3 hours? That's recent.
"Yes, truly. What tell you of these happenings?"
Well, from what we've heard from your guard, makes like a face. There have been some disappearances, and people come back sometimes, and they are not always the same. Yes?
"In many cases this seems to be the case. In many it seems to be they do not come back at all. My condolences on your mother, by the way."
Well, that is, I suppose, a good place to start. My mother, in fact, did disappear for a time, and someone else saw fit to masquerade in her place.
"And who would that be?"
Oh no. Ren, please, my notes.
It's a name that you are quite familiar with, one of the planets.
I know. I just...
Long one.
Mercury, thank you. Okay, there are things that my character knows that I do not know because it's been a minute.
That's cool. Are they up on the character spreadsheet that you set up? Because that's
I
always a
have
good
my
place to
other notes
consult.
up, but not that up. Me.
Oh, it's
grab
not on,
it.
he's not on there anyway. now he is.
An individual named Mercury seems to have the ability or has been imbued with the power to change forms and impersonate people. I'm not sure if many people have this ability. It seems so. If multiple people have returned and are not themselves.
Yes, you seem to have personal experience in this.
Unfortunately, quite so, Your Majesty.
Yet I have a boon to ask of you. My
Please.
daughter was last seen in her chambers. Would you have a look around and see if you can spot anything with your experience that may point one way or another?
I will need my retainers, of course, to accompany me. Is that fine?
Absolutely. And shall we order some crackers for your raven?
I'm uncertain whether he is instrumental in the investigation process. Is the Raven instrumental in the investigation process, or can he have some crackers?
The Queen looks quizzically at Mr. Snuggles.
I'll have you know, Mr. Snuggles is quite fond of little nuts.
Warm or room temperature?
I think they would just room temperature, and Umbra just starts looking at this bird like it is an actual person.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on crackers? Nuts it is, Your Majesty, if you would be so kind to indulge.
Very well. We shall have some macadamias sent over to my daughter's chambers, along with anything else you may desire. Harold, to take it from here. Thank you all very much. And she
Of course,
gives
Your
you a very slight, very restrained, very royal curtsy as she sweeps her long train of a dress and heads back up the stairs. You have been switched off.
I admire her so much.
We will have anything else that you need sent over to you. Harold?
With that,
Sir Harold, please take them there. Sorry, Umbra, go for it.
Umbra is just gonna get up from his bowed position. His head still bowed before he turns and raises it. It seems to have work to do.
This problem is much more widespread than I had initially hoped, which is definitely a problem.
Let us not trouble the Queen with our ponderings and everything in her chamber. Allow us to at least get to the hall, Davina.
She's already gone. She left.
I mean, she's just lounging on her throne, but still within earshot.
With that, Umbra's just
We're in
gonna
a
start
huddle.
heading out.
Yeah, so we're gonna head out to the hall with the intent of going to those chambers. On the way out, I do make it look like Harold has a stain on his uniform for as long as I possibly can until I get out of range.
Okay.
And it's right over the sigil to like the no place.
I can't believe you would magically touch his no-no square like that.
Well, I'm not gonna unmagically touch it with his attitude.
Regular magical. I just need to add you all back onto this map because for some reason I didn't think to drag you guys. There we go. Eventually you arrive at the bedchambers. Harold will just say, "Welcome to the bedchambers of Princess Clara Maelin. Don't go through her unmentionables."
Sir, the fact that you even mentioned them is crude.
Look, we are the professionals here. We will do what we need to do to find her and return her safely.
Also, I get the vibe that Harold has gone through her unmentionables.
Sorry?
I said I get the vibe that Harold has gone through her unmentionables.
There is
Okay.
a long and sordid fictional history you're very familiar with of knights fraternizing with young and impressionable princesses. Anyway,
Umbra, is there anything unusual about this door? Does it look like they use this as the point of egress?
Umbra will begin to inspect the door for any signs of forced entry on both sides.
and those that have slipped in, you see the main door of the princess's bedchambers. This lower door on the right is slightly ajar. You can see in front of a fireplace, which seems to have dying embers, there is a tea set with seems like half-drunk tea and a piece of paper.
Okay, I'm gonna help Umbra with the door, and then I'm gonna go.
Cool.
We're gonna go look at the tea set.
In that case,
Oh,
Umbra,
God.
please roll me an investigation with advantage.
Javier is on the
23.
tea set.
This door has not been molested in any way.
Oh my god.
No. No signs of forced entry or any breaches of any kind. It doesn't even seem like the lock's been tampered with.
That's
There's more
Alright.
ways to enter a room than just here.
I suppose too, and it could be that the person who entered and was responsible for this was either somebody that the princess trusted, somebody who had access, or was disguised as one of those two sorts of people.
Is it just
If we are
one-
thinking along the same lines, I am sure Mercury has the resources to get in and out undetected. With that, Umbra's going to walk over and start looking at this slightly ajar door.
Cool. And to answer the question I think you were trying to ask there is only one teacup in this tea setting.
Okay.
It appears as if the tea is not fully drunk, but the piece of paper seems to have been used as a
Javier is
coaster.
gonna pick up the cup and put it in front of Cain's nose.
With my knowledge of medicine and herbalist kit, would I pick something on this tea?
I would ask you to roll a perception check. It's based on smell, obviously.
Okay.
Although you can do medicine if you prefer, but I don't think you want to pass that up. You smell orange peel, bergamot, maybe a hint of honey in there as well, but that's it.
Well, it seems to just be a tea, a normal one.
Oh. Javier is gonna drink the rest of it.
It is still very slightly warm. It's like you can see with the swill of the tannin, it hasn't been sitting there for more than 3 hours. It definitely seems to have been touched kind of recently, and it is quite delicious. Although the honey has started to set at the bottom of the porcelain. so you don't quite get the hit of sweetness.
Can I read the tea leaves in the honey?
So the tea leaves are in the pot.
Damn. I'm gonna grab the piece of paper then.
And it reads as such. I have transcribed it below just in case that font isn't readable for you. Appears to be a shopping list.
I didn't know Kurt had his own sardine line.
Most expensive. Ooh.
There's like 100 other princes.
Those things like herbs and medicine things too. Would I be able to like make up what those ingredients would like together would make?
You may. That would be, I believe, a nature or survival.
Yeah, I can't help with either of those. Good luck.
Damn. 25.
Wolfsbane and Silverthorn can be combined to make a potion of Werewolfbane, which is very potent against lycanthropes' shape-shifting powers. Mandrake root, white ghost orchid seed, and lightning struck steel equipment are often used in very powerful healing potions and tinctures. You have never heard of sardines being used in potions before.
That's just a snack. I feel like that's just a snack.
Could be.
A little
I
snack,
relate.
you know, just like just like a little nut.
I relate that information mostly to gingerbread. It's close to me.
Yeah, Jean Javert doesn't know anything about potions, so he doesn't care that much. He's just kind of like he just sets the now kind of like empty cup down. It like leaves Cain to the list. Now after he's just kind of like reading it off, just like
Interesting.
I want to investigate for any kind of like foul play or anything that seems amiss within kind of like the general bed area.
Okie dokie. I'll take. You can take your time with that investigation, and we can see what the others see in this room beyond, and then get back to you. Anissa, are you joining them in the study?
Probably not.
Fair.
Continue walking.
Alrighty. So Umbra and Davina, or are you going elsewhere now?
Yeah, I'll follow. I'll continue, like, I don't have a lot of skill, like, just on my own, so I'm just pointing shit out and, like, assisting Umbra.
You see a study very rich with books. On the table there seems to be a journal of some form that is open on a particular entry. Below the desk there is a ripped in half piece of paper, and on the side table next to you, Davina, there appears to be a book with quite a few bookmarks in it. That has just been put there seemingly for quick reference.
Umbra's gonna head down, and he's going to first grab the ripped paper that he notices, and then take a look at the journal.
So the ripped piece of paper appears to be an invitation from Emperor Gideon Orben to a...
Well, which is it, Gideon or Ben?
There is apparently a ball coming up in a few weeks in the palace in Amiesling that the Mayelin family have been invited to. But it's been ripped in half and shoved onto the floor.
And the journal?
It is open to a specific page, which I will bring up. Sarah, you want to read it out?
Sure. My mother seems still unconcerned about the rumors. I now have reasons to suspect them to be fact. Report follows, transcribed by Gwendolyn Reed on the 37th of Ariel, 118 AU. Statement given by Amos Fincher, dealer at the Casino de Montcharles. Transcription begins. Thank you for meeting with me. I'm hoping that you can help where I don't think the local enforcers can. You're the one to speak to, I trust. The head of the Enlightened here. I'm sorry, I ask because you just seem, well, young, though I suppose I am not the best at gauging elven ages. Anyways, I understand that I need to say what happened to me from the top. While I was walking home from work a week ago, the streets were darker the further away you went from the center of town, but the bright full moon illuminated the path enough for me to find my way in the dark. I was nearly home when I heard it, a flute playing one long, low note, followed by this awful scream. It curdled my blood and I froze in place. It didn't feel like the normal flight, freeze type of frozen, but something that hit me to my core. The scream couldn't have been more than 30 paces away from me, just down the alley I was about to cross. I felt like a rabbit immobilized by fear at the sound of the circling hawk. I couldn't move. I could only wonder frantically in my mind about what exactly had made that scream and if it was coming for me next. Then I heard it, the sound of tearing and of wet meat hitting the floor. Yikes. You probably know what I'm talking about at this point. I found out what it was in the papers, just like you. When that, whatever it was, hit the floor, the paralyzing feeling left me. I turned around from where I'd come and fled. There were other ways to get home, though once I was there, I barely slept. I saw what I had nearly encountered on the front page of the journal the next morning. Gruesome murder off Lontaine Road, body butchered, identity unknown, suspected cannibalism. Sounds grisly enough as it is. I suspected there was something more to it than a simple murder. That scream, that unholy scream. Although I protect me, it was not from the threat of any creature I knew of. But I am not a city constable nor a detective. I am a blackjack dealer. They will do their jobs and I will do mine. But after reading the newspaper on my way to work that next morning, I did try and give my perspective at the local constabulary for the record. They nodded, wrote little, and have not contacted me since. When I got to work, I was surprised to hear the melancholy sounds of music coming from the piano in the center of the casino floor. Tatiana Crescendo, the head priest, okay. The head priest of Alarda, is that right? Aladra, was there, playing some strange dirge. I could tell it was them, not just from the robes, but the fact that they were wearing their own face. They're a changeling, I'm not sure if you know that already. Their white, empty eyes did not look up as I crossed the room, heading towards the employee changing area, but the dirge, the key it was in, was far too familiar, too fresh in my mind. This one note in the tune, I could swear was exactly the noise of the flute that preceded that terrible scream from the night before. For a second, I was back there at the lip of the alley. Then I was on the casino floor. I tripped over a bag. Its contents spilled over the floor. I was so panicked I didn't look. I just tried to push myself up. That's when my hand landed on the flute. It looked dirty, with a dark rust or maybe something more dire. I glanced up at Tatiana, and her face was one of pure anger and terror. I blurted my excuses and fled to the changing room. By the time I came out, the head priest and their spilled pack was gone. The piano was silent. But their face, that look, I cannot get out of my head. Looking back, I think that their flute had blood on it. I think that they were involved, and if so, the constables will not be able to investigate. I felt that I needed to tell someone that belonged to a bigger group than the RBC's local enforcement. I don't know what you can or will do about it, but thank you for listening anyway. Transcription ends. It is clear that M. Fincher encountered a werewolf. The night was indeed a full moon, and I suspected for a few months now that there is some sort of pack that is formed within my city. As for what role head priest Crescendo may have served, that has yet to be determined. I will ask Master Darkling for independent detectives to carry out the investigation when next I see her. I recall whilst at university, Master Darkling once gave a lecture on how necromancy can be used for good, as well as for the darker arts to which it is associated. I recall a potion I learned to make in my first year, a tincture of werewolf's bane. It is meant to poison the lycanthrope to prevent it from transforming for approximately 24 hours. that perhaps if combined or improved, it could freeze the lycanthropy altogether, rendering the subject for all its intents and purposes no longer a lycanthrope. If these people were only following their curse's nature, they do not deserve death, they deserve a cure.
Thanks for reading that out.
That flute sounds awfully familiar, Umbra!
That was the thing I was telling you about last night.
Freeze the lycanthropy in place. Fresh frozen sardine. We cracked the code. Got it. We did it, everybody.
Just like a cat to focus on the fish.
With that, Umbra will kind of read through it, wave over Davina to read it.
That flute. That reminds me of, what happened to you the other night? Sorry.
See.
My memories on those things are hazy at best.
Well, I recall hearing a noise before you were immobilized, but it didn't affect everyone in the room.
Then perhaps that is why my memory is hazy. I am aware that it is my organization that has put this bane upon me. Something I intend to rectify at some point, but for now, I cannot get to what I need to rectify it. For now, I remain a liability. If this is what we are going up against, there's a chance I will not be able to aid in the final fight.
That's honestly a little bit of a problem, Umbra. One of the better people that, you know, mimes shooting somebody.
What
I will not
type of
lie,
mime
I'm
would
good
you
at what I do.
use? Would you use like the gun kind of mime or like bow and arrow mime?
Like a crossbow.
Okay.
I can remain hidden for a time, potentially get the drop, and at least get one good hit in before I am frozen. That is one of my specialties, after all.
That aside. Sorry,
With
go
that,
on.
Umbra is going to turn back and begin flicking through other entries in the journal to see if there's any other info that he can glean from it.
There is an assortment of similar styles of entry. It becomes increasingly clear to you that the princess seems to be playing the role of a member of the Enlightened here in the city, and she has been investigating paranormal activities. One of the other entries denotes someone walking through the woods, seeing a bright, sparkling orb, and hearing trauma from their past.
The will-o-wisps.
It appears the princess has been investigating paranormal things are happening around here. Taking another scan through with like a fine-tooth comb. There's nothing hidden in Thieves' Cant, is there?
There is not.
Umbra will flick it back to the most recent entry that it was left on.
Okay.
Before also pulling out the ripped up invitation and kind of showing it to Davina. Perhaps this was the final straw.
Do I know the sender of this invitation? Or
The
have I heard of them?
The Pretender Emperor? You've heard of him.
Okay.
He
Is there...
he is the eldest surviving son of the dead Emperor Keegan Versailles.
Okay.
He is the one who has seized the throne in Amisling and called
Okay.
himself the Emperor. There
So
is an
the-
entry to him in Roll20.
Okay.
Yes, Anissa, you want to investigate the room beyond you?
Yeah, why not?
You open the door and you're immediately assaulted by a whirlwind of feathers.
Keegan's a changeling.
A
Is that
penguin
penguin?
was in the room. It looks quite old. You see that its eyes have cataracts over them. It appears to be just pecking at like your hands, looking for something.
It's just staring at it. 1,000-yard stare. Just pick it up. Walk over to the guard outside. Deal with this. And walk off.
What are you doing with Sir Waddles?
Passing his duty of care on to you.
He just kind of befuddlingly holds the penguin as you walk away. You can just see Harold asking, "How you doing, buddy?"
Oh, you know, hanging in there.
Wanting my sardines.
The fresh frozen kind that can apparently freeze lycanthropy in place. But I ain't gonna tell I'm a penguin.
Oh yeah, do I have... Can I speak to the animals? I don't think I can. I have animal friendship.
I know Cain does, but Cain is currently casting a different kind of spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that. It's okay.
So Jean-Javert has been investigating the room beyond for quite a while now. The main room has found no signs of a struggle. The room seems quite cozy and well manicured. Freshly watered plants on most surfaces. Looks like a typical like mid-20s princess's room.
Nothing hidden, nothing privatized out of like obvious sight.
When investigating the bed, you do find a handkerchief tucked under the pillow.
Does it happen to have the initials of the princess, or?
It has the initials SHR.
And what is the name of the royals again?
Is Harold's first name, or is that a middle name? If this guy can bag a princess, I
You'd have
quit.
to stomach him long enough to ask him. So the family house is Mayelin.
So SHR does not coincide. What is, like, how fancy is this handkerchief? Is this like standard what somebody would just have, or does this seem to be kind of like of higher quality?
It's definitely of higher quality, but it's not like top tier quality. And just for the record, out of the 14 royal houses, none of them have a surname that begins with R.
Gotcha. So it's Davina middling royalty. Gotcha. Can I attempt to think of any? Are there, like, could I attempt to think of any nobles, or maybe even just kind of like upper middle of note that would have like the same?
One springs to mind pretty quickly. The
R
Reed
or HR?
family.
Oh.
Say it again?
Reed, R-E-E-D. They've popped up a few times. A member of the Reed family apparently helped the princess transcribe the statements that the casino dealer gave. Davina's brother is also currently squiring under a member of the Reed family. a separate member of the Reed family, a person called River Reed, is the head upholsterer.
Okay.
Of like the guild of upholsterers throughout the nation.
They've got the fingers in a lot of pies, basically.
Okay. I'm thinking on what does Jean Javier want to do with this?
Do you want to have a think? I can go over to Anissa.
He's going to pocket it.
Okay. But that handkerchief is the most interesting thing you find. The rest is just, yeah, nothing else really stands out. Anissa, in the bathroom, you find evidence of a bath that was taken place probably about 3 to 5 hours ago. The water's pretty cold by now, but the petals that are in the bath haven't started to sink or rot or anything. There's also a few wet footprints still on the floor that haven't completely dried.
We'll just probably leave at that point. There's nothing really of note.
And at this point, I would say that Cain has probably finished casting Detect Magic and feels a very strong pull of magic from the room that has been as yet unexplored.
I'll just I'll just appear out of thin air behind Anissa and be like, well, I think you should open the door. I can feel something rather magical inside the room.
Radio.
This appears to be the royal dressing room.
I wish I had a magic dressing room.
You see 2 display cases full of jewelry, which seem to be what is pinging your magical senses off the most. You also see a cloak with a few clumps of frost still clinging to it, which is notable because it is not currently that cold.
Spring. I'm gonna point out to Anissa and be like, last time I checked, it was spring, right? So why is ice on this?
It's not magical, is it?
Well,
The
it
ice
is.
not magical. Neither is the cloak.
Oh.
My guess is then somewhere she's been somewhere where it's been cold.
You see there are a few pockets on the inside of the cloak as you approach it.
I'm gonna put my hand on it and try to feel anything.
Your hands touch paper. You pull out a short letter. Dearest Clara, the season is again almost upon us, and I once again extend an invitation to you to help distribute my products to the most deserving of your citizens. Merrily, N.
Since King is not the most lecture about family names and everything, I'll just hand out to Anissa and be like, that might be a clue of something.
Well, unless the princess has become a drug dealer, yes.
You could do a history or religion check to try and identify who could have the initial N.
Boy, my -1 or my -1. You know, I think I'm gonna go for my -1.
Bold choice, but okay. This is where you roll a 25. Okay. You're like,
Free.
M? Who's M?
Eh,
I think well, I think Umbra would be the best fit for analyze this.
yeah.
Is there any
Hmm?
any other source of magic in this room besides those two?
No, it's all the jewelry.
Does it look like anything has been taken or replaced recently?
There are a couple of empty slots. One looks like it hasn't been filled in quite some time, and if you and that slot is one that looks like it should have a necklace inside. But there are 2 ring slots which appear more fresh. Just to ask, Davina, Umbra, are you guys done in the study? Are you heading into a different room?
Umbra wants to check out this chest if there's anything of note, and then we still have not looked at the book with all the bookmarks in it.
Okay.
So that's Umbra's next thing after this.
The chest is locked tight.
Well, it's a good thing I am well prepared to break into chests.
Wait, are you
Okay.
a rog?
A rogue?
A rogue?
Exactly.
A
Umbra
Rahuga.
gets down on
I
a knee,
believe
tries
Umbra
the
is a
chest.
rouge.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
Umbra
gonna do that.
then, seeing that it's locked, without hesitation, just pulls out a small little like roll of fabric and then just unrolls lockpicking tools.
The lock looks a little narrow. Why don't you grab one of those skinny ones in the end, and I will assist by critiquing the lockpicking tools.
I know what I'm doing. I'm quite proficient in this.
No, you need one of those with the hooks.
I'm fairly sure that Davina has no proficiency in thieves' tools.
I don't have a proficiency in it, but I've hired people to open things for me before.
That's a good point. You are Better Call Saul, essentially.
Yes, I am.
So I will allow the advantage.
Alright. Dexterity. 25.
The lock flicks open like marmalade on a hot spoon. And inside is just more and more papers. It appears to be like diaries dating back the last 15 years. Because they are all very, very neatly and very, very precisely labelled.
It seems the princess is quite meticulous with her keeping of records. Umbra's just going to like flick through them, like thumb through them very briefly to see if there's any other interesting tidbits within them that could help them in their investigation, or any juicy gossip that he could use as leverage.
That will take a while, so we'll skip back to the others. You guys you're leaving the dressing room? I take it?
Yeah, I want to try to talk with the penguin.
As you go back into like the entry hallway, you see Harold is just holding the the penguin at arm's length, as it's just angrily going. And it's just kicking its tiny, stubby little legs.
I won't cast talk with animals And I'll be like, now come on, buddy.
Eh?
What's all the fuss about?
I mean, you can understand me.
Yes.
Then tell this copper knight to put me down this instant.
Excuse me, good sir. I think this little one would rather stay on his own feet.
Harold will just be like, yep, whatever, and not very ceremoniously put Harold on the floor. Put Sir Waddles on the floor, and Sir Waddles will then waddle over to you and just kind of hide behind you. Most uncouth. First your tin can friend, and now this guard. I did not reach the age that I am now for accepting such treatment.
I do agree. It was quite rude of them to treat you in so low standards. But I could not notice that you are quite the figure, and I would like to ask you a little bit of perhaps a help in the investigation we are doing on this room.
Why on earth would you be investigating this room?
Well, the princess is gone missing.
Missing? Balderdash!
It was the queen herself that asked us to come here and investigate the matter.
Respectfully, the queen does not know what she's talking about. She keeps trying to feed me crackers! Crackers!
Most unfortunately. And why do you think the princess is then? Why she's not on her room?
I couldn't possibly say.
Are you not in the room like all the time with her? I assume you are her friend.
I am Sir Waddles. I am her closest companion, and I have been since she was 3 years old.
And did you not happen to hear or see any, I don't know, strange behavior or occurrence?
I absolutely did not.
Huh.
I'm sure wherever the princess is, she is safe.
If you say so, my friend. Well, I appreciate your help, nonetheless.
At that point, Anissa, you're quite perceptive, are you not?
Well, with a passive 21, I believe so.
Okay, well, those are still rookie figures, but
Well,
from the room that you were in with all the necklaces and the cabinets full of clothes and whatnot, you hear something scraping on the floor slightly and muffled footsteps approaching.
I mean, to be fair, the sword comes out at that point.
And at that point, you collide at the door. This figure is opening it just as I presume you would be.
Oh yeah, full force.
Okay, please roll me a strength check.
Just strength.
And I'm going to roll this individual a dexterity save.
Oh my god.
So she just manages to jump out of the way at the door as it flies open and you sword fully drawn?
It's at the point where I can react,
Okay,
but not like pointing at anyone.
fair. My penguin is right. I was in no harm, says the figure that has entered. And here we're going to take a little break.
Okay. I think so.
Standing before you appears to be the younger version of the regal woman that you just met, slumped on a throne. This is quite clearly Princess Clara Mayelin.
Meanwhile, Bailey and I are going through her journals.
You are currently reading about like this one really cringe time when she was being tutored under Yvonne Darkling, as you were as well at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And just having to like dissect a frog and just couldn't quite handle it. She was 12 at this time.
Above table, did we like specify a safe or a efficient way to like know when a person is like that person or Mercury?
Nope.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury does seem to have a penchant for showing off in front of you all now, from the time that you encountered him after the first, so that would be probably your only giveaway right now. But there is an individual standing before you. She has a small woven bag, and she is holding a ring in one of her hands that she appears to have very recently taken off. She looks over at Anissa with, I believe her sword is drawn, but just not like actively pointed in a direction. Oh, you can put that nonsense away. It's all fine here. Although, actually, she rummages through the bag and she brings out a small metal tin. Do you reckon you could open that with your lovely weapon?
I think there are people better
The
suited to
sardines.
that than
Yes.
my blade.
Along the side, as she proffers the can towards you, you can see that it says Prince's Fresh Frozen Sardines. Mistress, you have brought it! Hee hee hee! Hungry! Yes, please! Like, there's always an immediate switch when the princess is around, that now Sir Waddles is just like feeling a bit goofier, a bit happier.
Jean Javert, knowing that the other two are off and to the side, is just gonna say like a bit loudly, "Well, looks like we done found our princess inside of a closet."
Put it away! Lock the chest back up! Umbra!
Umbra will be done flicking through whatever page he's on. Is there... So these were put in a very meticulous order. Umbra wants to put them back in that meticulous order.
It's one of the last entries that you were reading is talking about her crush on one Seoman Harvold Reed.
Okay.
As they are very meticulously labelled along the spines with the exact year, and they were all very in order. It's very easy to put them back into the same order.
Perfect. With a quick little flick of his wrist with the thieves' tools, we're going to lock that thing again, because we're just going to fail, basically a fail pick, to put the tumblers back in place.
I mean, it's that'd work. Cool. Everything's back in place. I assume you guys leave the room after that.
Yep,
you also
Umbra.
wanted to have a look at that book, didn't you? I can at least tell you the title is if you want to quickly leave.
Yeah, Umbra will take a look at the title as he walks by.
It reads How to Speak Celestial.
Ooh. Alright, come out of this room. Oh! Princess! You're not abducted.
My mother reported me abducted, did she? Of course. I did ask for myself to not be disturbed during the morning, because I knew I would not be here and she would freak out.
Yeah,
Well,
apparently you've been missing parentheses.
Apparently.
Well, unfortunately, it seems your little roundabout wherever you've been has caused us a little bit of trouble, as it seems your mother was quite persistent on harassing our employer, the Prince Kurt.
Is there any reason she would blame you being gone for 3 hours on Kurt?
Oh,
And here I was
think
hoping
you would
that
be
you
kidnapped.
Here I was hoping that you would be my help from Master Darkling.
You still call her Master Darkling?
There's like a very kind of almost red-faced, as red as someone with just like a moon blue skin can get. She just looks over at you. Oh, you're an alumna.
Yes, I mean, when you graduate, she shakes your hand and lets you call her Yvonne, no?
So you are not part of us. I see.
I flirted with the idea, but you lot have a lot of hard and fast rules.
Rules like what?
Like, you like to keep all this evidence, documentation around, and...
Wait, I do know you. You're that disgraced lawyer.
John Javert.
Allegedly.
What does John Javert do? So you cut out there.
Jean Javert is just kind of like leaning on his cane, just like looking towards Davina, just kind of like in the show as soon as he heard failed lawyer.
Not failed. Just allegedly.
disgraced. Just
Allegedly disbarred.
no, she
I was
definitely
very
has been
successful.
disbarred. She has been disbarred for a year.
I was asked politely to leave for a little bit, and they said you could come back.
You are told to take a year vacation.
It could have been a lot worse, but I'm very personable, so...
I was too busy with personal matters, so I had to step up.
Well, if you're done reminiscing, I believe fate works in mysterious ways and has drawn us together. While we may not be of your organization or work for your master, it seems we may have a common goal.
And what would that be?
The ridding of lycanthropy from your city.
A rather satisfied smile stretches across Clara's face. Who do you know then?
We were attacked by them.
That's not the reason, though, is it?
Is that not reason enough to want to do good for this gracious city?
I'm going to ask you to roll a deception, because I'm pretty sure that would be deception from you.
I just gonna roll my eyes at Umbra.
If you can make a case for it being persuasion instead, I'll accept it, but...
No, that is 100% deception on
Yeah.
Umbra's part.
Knew it. At this point, Clara will just tune you out and will turn to the others. So this one is obviously lying. Who do you know that has been infected?
Can you
We're
keep
not
a secret,
under.
princess?
No, we do not tell.
Jean Javert is going to take off his hat and hold it to his chest, and he's going to say, "Alright, I must admit, we do indeed have someone quite important to us that was afflicted by the lycanthropy. One of Davina's humble gods, Thomas, is suffering from the affliction. It turns out that a certain alpha werewolf within a particular underground organization here within the city had abducted him, infected him, and helped to set him up to try to attack us. Luckily, he still remains semi-loyal to us, but due to his affliction, we cannot guarantee his safety, and we seek to cure him because he is quite near and dear to the Davina household." And he just kind of like places a hand just like gently on Davina's shoulder, sympathetically.
I pull out a handkerchief and pretend to start crying. It's just so sad.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for a performance check from Davina and a deception check with advantage from Jean Javert, because like all good lies, it has a nugget of truth.
Okay. Performance. Ayo! I'm an actress.
This is by far and away not the first time that you have fake cried on cue to elicit an emotional reaction from others.
Give me one. Oh, no, take the first one. So,
A
Well, it's
20 is still good enough. Oh, you poor things. I heard
And
that they
there
were
goes our
starting to...
only bargaining chip.
listen, Umbra, unfortunately, we are quite. We've been trying. We had gone over to the carnival where the monster tamer hunters are, and they try to give us as much information as possible. And Jean Javert is going to pull out the potion of tracking, and he's going to say, "We have a means to hunt them down, but unfortunately, before we were able to go and seek them out, your mother had your guards pull us out here, all due to your disappearance. So I'm afraid our time is starting to go up.
So,
If you don't mind, providing some assistance in our plot would definitely be grateful, and I think that we can both help each other out."
so as you were like, you know, crying and sharing all of these tremendously heartfelt moments, Clara has kind of moved on, dumped her shopping bag at the table. But when you say that the guards arrested you or asked you to come and visit with the Queen on suspicion of your disappearance, she stops and glares at you with intense suspicion. And why exactly would she target you? I don't
That's
really...
what we want to know. For some
Well-
reason, she believed Prince Kurt to be involved with your disappearance, and we happen to be his bodyguards.
Ah. Well, that explains it.
When she put her bag on the table and all the things that she bought, can we just say, and about the help that my acquaintance just said, how long would take for you to cook a potion with those ingredients that would help us? And I give her a hint that I know what she's going to make with the ingredients.
She just thinks, honestly, it does depend on how successful I am at marrying the ingredients together. This is a brand new potion I'm trying to make, and I am still awaiting my good friend Gwendolyn to arrive.
I could provide some assistance. I'm rather knowledge and brew potions and medicine in general.
Well, if you stay here, who would guard the body of Prince Kurt? And where is he exactly? If you are his bodyguards?
Well, when your mother's guards so graciously interrupted our meeting this morning, uh, the options were uh, either drag him along, or one of your mother's guards would stay there, and we would come along to answer questions.
One of my mother's guards, a guard that is sworn to follow only the orders of my mother, and guard the body of the royal family. Our royal family, mind. Just decided magnanimously to guard
Well, it was
the
that,
body
or
of
we
an
were
enemy?
not going to come along.
Well, you see, Prince Kurt has fallen a little bit under the weather. His constitution is quite weak. He's not very used to, very prone to anxiety. Something about the weather when we went on our walk. We brought him along over to the Monster Carnival the as we sought some solution for our friend Thomas.
Ah. Yes, that is
Which is
quite a
so
fun
sad.
carnival.
Oh, my makeup.
And
Okay.
I have met the prince on several occasions since he came to the city to negotiate. He is certainly buzzing with anxiety, is he not?
And unfortunately, once the guards had come over, just fainted right on the spot. So one of your guards graciously decided to watch over him while one of Davina's maids had gone to get a doctor, while one of the other guards ushered us over here to the palace.
Very well. My plan at the moment is to experiment with a potion, but it could take weeks. And Gwendolyn, there is no one quite like Gwendolyn in terms of potion brewing. I appreciate your offer, sir, and gestures to Cain.
Just Cain.
Sir, just Cain? Okay.
You can call me Cain Lightgift.
My apologies. Cain Lightgift. A lovely name.
Davina has stopped crying and is now trying not to laugh.
Please roll me another performance. Well, yeah, no, a performance.
Okay.
Because I assume if you do crack a laugh, you'll probably try and funnel that back into pretending to cry.
I'm good.
Before we continue,
I'm able to gracefully peter out the tears.
Before we continue, I would quite like to know the rest of your names. We have Davina
Hepburn.
Hepburn, yes.
Yes.
Esquire. Well, not anymore, is it?
Technically, I get to keep the title. I'm just not supposed to practice law for a year while they sort their system out.
Very well. I have... And Cain Lightgift. And... are you the unusual fellow with the rather aggressive-looking pet crow?
I will have you know that Mr. Snuggles is not a very aggressive creature. He is quite a dapper individual. As for myself, I am Umbra.
Mr. Snuggles has permanent resting bitch face.
Yeah, and he's quite dapper for it.
Fair.
Umbra said what he said.
Yeah, fair. Both of those things can coexist. Mr. Snuggles and Umbra. A lovely combination. And I'm not quite sure I got your name. A furry fellow with the top hat.
Jean Javert. The cat is silent.
You can see she's trying to spell that in a way where there would be the cat in there. Ultimately just shrugs and goes, "A pleasure." And yourself, well, I suppose you are the bodyguard of the bodyguards, aren't you?
Just not.
Ah, the strong and silent type. And what is their
Nods again.
name?
I'm sure our companion can speak for herself.
But does not appear to.
It's
Never mind.
Anissa. There you go.
You can see there is a flash of recognition that goes over her face. But she very tactfully just nods and moves on. Lovely to meet you all. Now, my companion Gwendolyn and I will be experimenting whenever she gets here with the ingredients that I've picked up. In the meantime, forgive me, but I think the most prudent course of action for you all would be to chase down my other lead.
Which is?
Ah, of course, I'm sorry, you must not have read my journal. There was an...
We try to be thorough, but not too invasive.
There was an incident recently that seems to have involved the head priest of the religion of Aladra. Changeling by the name of Tatiana Crescendo. Do you know of them?
I'll look off to Davina.
Was that the
That's the person that was mentioned in the paper that we read. But I'm looking at Umbra saying like, how are we playing this?
is that well Umber does Umber recognize the name as like the leader of like the church he went to get healed? Or is that a different church?
Tatiana Crescendo is the head of the entire religion across the Empire.
Ah.
So would not probably be someone you've met, but if you have ever been in contact with like the upper echelons of society or researched anything about them, you would know that name in the same way that you would be familiar with Dionysus Bowen, the head priest of Baldre that you met before you headed to Rolaine.
I am aware of the name. However, I've not met this individual personally.
I've got to edit that because I realised I changed their gender. I kind of headcanon all changelings as pretty non-binary. But that is their artwork. Something that a few of you may have seen. There may be like may have been a picture on the wall when you got cured. The individual who gave me the statement about Tatiana is, weirdly enough, one of her employees. A blackjack dealer. You should start by going to the Casino de Montcharles and seeing if you can talk to this Amos Fincher, I believe the name was.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Go and speak to Amos Fincher.
Moss Fincher.
The spelling is in the diary handout.
Hmm.
Oh, well, from
Very
the
well.
search of handout.
What should we pry from this individual? And how okay are you with us leaning on them?
I am a member of the Enlightened. I believe in the seeking of truth, and power, and knowledge. I understand that occasionally leaning on someone is the only way in which you can fully get the truth.
Very good.
But
And
no bodily harm.
may I ask,
What about-
Go for it, Cain.
No,
what if the truth is not something pleasant?
Truth is truth. I want to know it, regardless. Are we understood?
Yes.
Transparently.
clear as mud, as one would say.
Sorry.
Well, is there any other information you can give us of this individual, what they may have saw? Why they are of interest?
Absolutely. Let me just go grab my note. And as she's trying to say the word notes, Anissa and I believe Cain is quite perceptive as well, and it appears that Clara is on roughly the same level as you in terms of perceptiveness, as her head whips back towards the dressing room where that same kind of creaking, scraping noise occurs as another set of footsteps make their way over the rug. This time not so mysterious. A rather deep, masculine voice rings out. All right, you got the stuff, Clara. Brought my kit. Clara will just will hold a hand out to Anissa and just say, "Stay your hand. That is Gwendolyn." And turning the corner, there is an individual that doesn't seem like a Gwendolyn. Looks a fair bit more masculine than that, but has appeared to have done her best to feminize what she can. The two stand up and embrace in a very intimate manner.
Aww.
I know what you are.
What do you mean by that? It's such an ominous sentence. Do you say that in character?
No, character.
Okay, some people we just let be in the closet, you know?
Closets may be very different when you are a royal or royal adjacent.
It's a walk-in, it's fine.
Yeah. Listen,
Oh, I
we've
see.
read this book before, okay? This is just the Femi, the Butch, and the wardrobe.
Amazing.
Beyond Butch, it seems more like they don't have many of the same advantages biologically. that someone like Clara would have had. If you were to, what I'm saying is, if you were to approach this person on the street, they would look like they were a man. Oh, I just
Okay.
broke my pencil.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's a mechanical pencil. I just accidentally nudged the end.
Crying.
Yeah.
I will stand up and go talk to them. Um Introduce myself and well, hello there. I'm King. We were talk to the princess about the late problems she's facing, and she mentioned that you would help her brew some kind of potion.
Yes. I majored in potion brewing at the Amiesling Academy. Gwendolyn Reed, pleased to meet you. If you've heard another name, ignore it.
Yeah. I meant to ask how did you stumble upon this recipe and
Well,
Wait,
the standard
can I?
Go for it.
Reed is a noble name
Yeah.
in Orisier. Can I
Mhm.
attempt to recall specifically Gwendolyn?
So you've known quite a few members of the House Reed. Um, there is River Reed. There is Sir Austin Reed, who is the master of Davina's brother. But there is no Gwendolyn Reed made public. River Reed.
Ooh, born on the wrong side of the sheets.
Not what I'm getting at, but fine.
Okay.
So the appearance of this person does match. Actually, roll me a history check there, please.
Yeah. 20.
Nice. Yeah, you've read a lot of papers in Orisier over the time that you've been here. You did once see a picture of like the whole Reed family, and it is unusually testosterone-y. There are very, very few women, and those that have been pictured and named, and those that are ones that have married in. But as you look at this woman, you do now recall that they were pictured in this portrait, but they were listed as Seaman Harvold Reed.
Alright, just want to confirm that.
Yep, so we're all on the same page.
Listen. Jean Javier could have assumed. He just wanted to verify off of his own knowledge.
Yep,
So,
yeah, there is no Gwendolyn that the public is aware of, but maybe, as she said, if you've heard of her by any other names, ignore them.
listen, there's one other thing I wish to discuss with you, Princess, before we depart and head after this lead. The disappearing nobles.
Yes, something I've heard rumour of. I'm so sorry about your mother, by the way, Davina.
Your condolences are appreciated.
Has the name Mercury appeared anywheres within your investigations into them?
Yes, I have heard that name. Gwenny dear, would you mind going to get my last journal? Gwendolyn will just give Clara an affectionate squeeze on the shoulder before retreating into the study and grabbing the book that was on the side. Clara begins to flick through. Yes, Mercury. It's someone who is flesh but not flesh, alive but in more than one place and unkillable.
Put those things together, what do you get?
We're working on that last one.
Exactly.
You know, I like you all. Are you sure that you don't want to become enlightened? We could definitely do with people like yourselves.
I mean, I'm willing to be persuaded, but that's a topic for another time.
Perhaps the others. I already
I
have
have
an
no other-
organization I belong to.
I don't have any other hair flip affiliations.
Let me guess, you're a member of the Corps, aren't you?
I will not lie, nor do I attempt to disguise it.
The very traditional outfit does give it away, I'm afraid.
I am who I am. I have given you my identity.
All of it.
The one that I wear. Never reveal one's true self.
At that, you hear a snort from Gwendolyn. It seems kind of dismissive of that statement. Anyway, yes, Mercury, what was it you wanted me to elaborate on? Sorry. I do get
If you put
distracted by
together
these.
that they're all over everywheres, they seem immortal.
No, they seem
What do you quite
mortal.
get?
Frankly, I suspect them to be constructs.
A bit. Blood magic, to be specific. However, they have ties to the Astarian nobility.
That is troubling. Because I have had them pegged as an agent of the Traveller. Or worse. Count Suedo.
Oh?
You're not familiar with the story of Count Suedo?
Am I familiar with this story?
This is something Umbra would be familiar with as well.
Everyone can roll a history or religion check.
Yay!
That's the same either way for me, so.
It's probably the same for most people, to be honest. Unless you...
Actually,
Ooh.
Ooh.
So got 11, 6, 15, 18... Anissa?
Nah,
Cool.
isn't even gonna bother.
Anissa doesn't care.
What's Anissa doing? Just kind of like guarding the guards, just hanging out next to the now snoring on a chair penguin?
Casual disassociation with this entire situation.
Fairs. Just contemplating, you know.
Waiting for when we're actually gonna help Kurt.
Yep. Just trying to restrain her anxiety over, you know, helping my employer.
Other things, but yeah, sure, we'll
But
go
yeah,
with that.
that too. Mavis, you have spent enough time, like, just stranded in buttfuck nowhere that you do not know the name Count Suedo. Jean Javert, you've heard of the name? To you, the Count is a kind of mythical ghost figure that people use to scare their children into going to bed on time. But Davina and Umbra, you know that this person was not just a ghost or a myth. He was a real living, well, the living part is questionable, but a real existing being.
Okay.
I'll give you a spelling as well.
Wonderful.
You actually recall having encountered a reference to Count Suedo earlier in today, as in game today, when you visited the Monster Festival and found that they were in the evening going to organize a burning of effigies of Count Suedo, which is.
And what type of supernatural creature was Count Suedo? Is it like, my gut says vampire, but I don't trust my gut at all right now.
The Count does kind of make you feel that vibe, doesn't it? For
It really
reference,
does.
on the Festival of Portents handouts, it's at number 21.
Okay.
Count Suedo was a lich.
Oh, I mean, undead. I'm in the right.
Yes.
I'm in the right ballpark.
Yeah, definitely like similar vibe. They were someone who was based in Yustari, who was rumored to have invented the concept of immortality, but Emperor Keegan bravely defeated Count Suedo in hand-to-hand combat, and in one singular blow, not only destroyed the phylactery, but banished the crumbs of the phylactery to its own demiplane,
Woof.
just to prevent the Count from ever gaining power again, ever threatening the realm again. Umbra, with your 18, you know that Count Suedo is a false name that this individual went by. Your proximity to the kingdom of Yustari also gives you the knowledge that the real name of Count Suedo was Odeus Avamari.
Can I get that spelling?
And while Umbra may not have met Odeus Avamari before, maybe characters that existed about 100 years ago did.
Hmm?
Wait, no, that's a false name. Odeus Avamari. That is the story I know of.
A smile goes over Clara's face. You are certain that you do not wish to be a member of the Enlightened. You certainly have the insight for it.
If it was not for my connections to the core, they would be the most likely one I would go for.
If you ever
I
feel
am
that they forsake
something.
you.
No, sorry.
If
What
you-
was that?
If you ever feel like they forsake you, come see me.
Perhaps. For now, moving as Umbra
Personally,
benefits
Umbra.
my needs better.
What was that, sorry, Jean-Javert?
No, that's fine. I was cutting out anyway. Personally, Umbra, I think you fit right in. As you know, both organizations are sort of similar to each other. Duplicitous, backhanded. You know, all the things you're used to.
I believe they frown upon assassinations and.
Ah, you wouldn't believe what they don't frown upon out there.
As well, too, it is better for me to maintain my identity as Umbra for the time being.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know I am part of the core. We wear masks. You cannot believe Umbra is my true name. But then again, to show one's true self is weakness.
Amen to that.
Now, is there
Well.
anything else that I can do for all of you? Or, I'm sure that my mother offered you food and water and all of that. She's very much a mother in that sense, even when she doesn't do it herself. I'm
Well.
sure that the servants will be along at any moment with whatever you have asked for, so you are free to stay for a few hours.
Could you satisfy my curiosity about one thing?
Depends on the thing.
So, I happened to see a crumpled up little piece of paper referencing a certain party when we were scouring the premises for your person. Any reason that you balled that little guy up on the floor?
Oh,
Not a potty person?
you mean that piece of paper that the invitation I unceremoniously ripped in half and let dangle at
Yeah,
my
and crumpled.
feet?
Yeah, on the floor. Yeah, that one.
Why on earth would I attend a party for a usurper, pretender, and overall, frankly, awful half-brother?
Well,
Well then,
he is your half brother.
who do
And
you support for the throne then, princess?
well, that is the difficult part, because many of the enlightened do support Emperor Gideon. But
Gideon or
division.
Ben?
it's Gideon.
Oh, I always thought it was Ben.
Maybe I'll call him that as an insult next time I see him. Thank you, Jean Javier.
He tips his hat.
I don't like him.
Certainly, but you've never heard of, keep your friends close, enemies closer.
He's not an enemy. He's a cockroach.
Davina writes that one down.
Why would you say that now?
Because it's true. He can call himself the Emperor all he likes. But he hides behind his supposed immortality. Well, conditional immortality. And if I can crack lycanthropy, I can crack whatever he has. He is a weakling that uses inherited power. I have real power, and she taps her skull at the temple.
Oh, a wizard. Yeah, I guessed.
Then perhaps I may offer some form of alliance, at least between myself and those I represent. There is a bit of internal matters that I will not get into particular details. However, Mercury is part of the core, and he is someone I am seeking to kill.
I have no issues with that.
I seek to rid the rot of the core, so that we may stand unified and work towards a better goal than the backstabbing and the mindless thievery. There is much more that can be done behind the scenes.
And the local core would therefore support me. Not that I am planning a position of power necessarily, but I do wish to rid this world of the rots that seek to twist it for their own means.
From what I have gained, given Mercury's position, it will at least deal a blow to the Astari. Should he die, and perhaps may lead to the cure of their immortality. However, who they will back and who headquarters decides is the one that we will subtly aid remains to be seen. However, I cannot speak for the specific chapter here.
Why don't we set up a meeting after we've dealt with the more pressing problem? I'm sure that your guard, Timothy, was it?
Thomas.
Thomas, I do apologize. I'm sure that Thomas would appreciate it if you stopped sitting around waiting for coffee, probably, to arrive and started investigating more. We can talk more politics in depth afterwards. Go and speak to Amos Fincher. See what you can find.
Very well, then. I look forward to the discussions and everything. I am not one of arcane knowledge, nor could I unravel the mystery of the Astarians. However, I think our partnership will be beneficial to both of us. For now, allow us to prove our worth by aiding in the cure and the destruction of these lycanthropes of your home.
And I will, of course, reward you all for helping to do something for me. But that is dependent upon what information you return with.
If
Anyway, Gwendolyn and I have matters to attend to, so...
Indeed. One last question. If Tatiana is at the casino, what should we do? Attempt to approach? Attempt anything? Or observe? Simply get the information and return back? Eliminate?
Do you know how to tell a lycanthrope when it's not in its wolf form? Or bear or cat?
They seem to quite enjoy and crave meat.
Aversion to silver.
Allergic to garlic.
Isn't that?
Oh, that might just be Thomas. Oh, silly me.
It's not something I've heard specifically.
No. Thomas has a preternatural allergy to garlic. It's genetic. Don't worry.
That's unfortunate. There are many ways, and those are quite a few of them. I assume none of you are oath keepers. You know,
No.
paladins of a persuasion.
Nay.
No.
I don't know. Single one of us is a paladin here.
That is always a way to potentially identify one. Being of the undead persuasion.
Well, clerics can do that too, no?
And are you a cleric?
No.
No, you are a disgraced lawyer. Is anyone here a cleric?
No, I don't think we have a single cleric in our party.
Then I suppose you would just have to gather information. I suspect heavily now that Tatiana Crescendo has something to do with these matters, whether or not they are a werewolf themselves, or sympathetic, or the creator of all of them. That is what I want to know. If you are forced by your hand to engage with them, I will understand, but I would prefer it if they stood trial and we could identify the rot. If they end up being the cause. Oh, I understood.
Very much so. Worst comes to worse. We will defend ourselves. However, we will try and bring the root of this to justice. As much as I prefer to take that term into my own hands, I will play by the rules for the sake of our agreement.
Lovely. Let me get the guard I'm sure is here to escort you. Oh, Harold, of course. How is your wart?
Amazing.
You can sense that he is blushing even under his like full face helmet. Benign, Your Majesty.
Are you quite sure?
Could be a B10, who knows? Show these servants of mine back to the exit, and please tell Mother to calm herself. Harold just bows deeply. At once, Your Majesty. Good luck on your quest.
Good luck on your brewing.
And with that, Harold will lead you back to the gates of Arisia Castle. And you are free to go.
And where's... Hold on, let me get the keys. Casino. 17? Yeah.
Well,
Quite far away from the center of the business, but still on Lontaine Road. Some of you may recall that that is the road in which the incident occurred.
Mm-hmm.
shall we head out that way? I quite enjoy blackjack. I'm not sure if the rest of you do. Perhaps I can play and get the individual in question comfortable. You all can watch. Perhaps do a bit more digging.
Not a bad idea. I don't mind doing similarly. Someone will undoubtedly buy me a drink.
I think here is a good place to end it for this week, as you approach the Casino de Montcharles.
Whoop whoop.
Evening is setting in now, and the casino is beginning to come alive. And we'll see how that happens for you next week.
Okay.